Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's nearly 2:30 in the afternoon on the 15th of June 2020. Alright, here you go. So this is a video I'd rather not do because the subject matter isn't good and I failed to do what I originally intended to do. Because the other day I thought, well, okay, best thing to do is if you're going to do a video on a person who's been killed by the police, then you should really just have photos of that person on the video. Yeah, if you're trying to do a video on that person, then you should honour that person by doing it. Well, I haven't done that. Sorry. My apologies for that. Although, again, that could be seen as two things, in two ways of using that person to get more likes or whatever. So, no, I'm not going to, don't know. We'll see. But anyway, this subject matter is a tough one. Not sure what the subject's going to be, but there's, what the title's going to be, sorry. Basically, I was watching some stuff the other day, and I think it was Bill Maher with his show, and they were talking as if changes are going to come with regards to the police. The authorities, changes are going to come. And I think, no, they're not. I don't think they are yet. No. The incident with Mr. Floyd, that brought the outrage level up to an 8. But that started to come down. The incident with Mr. Brooks would have been only a 3 or 4 in itself because he was resisting arrest. He was trying to taser a police officer, so the officer that shot him was not at a close enough distance to protect his partner. So you can understand why the officer did what he did. It's not right. But if you really think about it from the point of view of the officer, you can understand. You can understand him doing that. You can. His fellow officer potentially is going to be tasered by this criminal, really, because he was drunk driving. He was about to be arrested for drunk driving when he started fighting the arrest. And so with that one, as I say, I think that only brought the outrage level up to about a 3, or would have done to a 3. But as the outrage for George Floyd was dying down, it would have probably been about a 5 or 6. Yeah. I think with changes to come, you've got to be at least an 8, another 8, or a 10. And for an 8 or a 10, you're looking at either a celebrity being unlawfully killed. Now, say the one with Mr. Brooks, unlawfully, that was just. And that was a close call, whether that would be counted as unlawful or not. Yeah, that wasn't so clear cut. The George Floyd one was clear cut. Yeah, that was just out of order. Everything about it was out of order. Yeah, in a way, I've changed my mind on that one. Not on the George Floyd one, but the one, the Mr. Brooks one, because I think I said yesterday that the officer clearly intended to kill Mr. Brooks. Yeah. Yeah, he did. But was it as bad as what happened to Mr. Floyd? No. No, because it was quick. It was quick. It wasn't as thuggish, as disrespectful. The George Floyd one was incredibly disrespectful to George Floyd because the officer was saying, this person is truly beneath me, which is why I'm placing him beneath me with my knee on his neck, because he is truly beneath me. the officer with Mr. Brooks? No. He was incredibly respectful towards Mr. Brooks until the point that Mr. Brooks decided to resist arrest and got hold of the taser and then pointed the taser at the officer's fellow officer. Then the decision to go to the fatal route was decided. Now, in truth, I'm more defensive of the officer now. Now I've had time to calm down from the fact it was just another killing. Because now you look at it from the point of view, what else could the officer have done? He was too far away. If you remember, there was a second video from the surveillance footage where you saw Mr. Brooks running with an officer close to him, then an officer further behind. The officer further behind is the one who shot and killed Mr. Brooks. The officer closer is the one that tried to taser Mr. Brooks as they were running, when Mr. Brooks then turned around with his taser, or the other police officer's taser, and tried to taser the officer. Now, the officer who fired, what else could he have done? He was too far away. Imagine from that officer's point of view, your fellow officer is being tasered and tasered and tasered and tasered. You know, this man, Mr. Brooks, has got his finger on the taser, on the button. Your fellow officer is going through that incredible pain. Well, first of all, again, I would say, if you think the incredible pain is worthy of you taking someone's life, and this is where the other point of view comes in, you can see it, I can see it from both points of view. You see, because if you think that tasering is so bad that you have to take someone's life, why on earth were you trying to taser Mr. Brooks in the first place? If tasering is so bad, and this is where you can't understand the logic that because it was a tasering that he felt it was right to use lethal force and shooting this man to death. It's a complicated situation. See, this one with Mr. Brooks is a complicated one. It's far more complicated than the one with Mr. Floyd. So, as I say, this one isn't as high a degree of outrage. A celebrity or a kid. If a police officer kills someone in a more similar way to a chokehold or knee on the neck, that sort of thing, to a child or a celebrity of brown skin, then the outrage will come to a full 10. And at a full 10, I think you're going to get the changes you want. Unless it's a full 10, you're going to have a load more incidences like Mr. Brooks happening. Rayshard Brooks, you're going to have a lot more of those incidents happening. And horrendous as that is. Because the problem is you've got a whole side. You can't take notice. Ignore the left. Ignore the left. The left just wants to punish anyone right now. Anyone who was getting away with stuff in the past, the left just wants to punish them. Ignore them. Right? They just want to hurt anyone they can hurt. Simple as that. There's an element within them that just want to hurt whoever they can hurt. They'll even hurt their own party. So ignore them. Right? Black Lives Matter. Pretty much ignore them as well, because there's been a lot made recently about the fact that Black Lives Matter don't tend to come out when a brown person kills a brown person, and when there's a lot of that happening. They don't tend to care about that too much. They only seem to care when it's a white cop killing a black man, as they say. Then all of a sudden they're here, they've got their TV time. So you can't really count them, because are they going to be there till right to the end bit? Probably not, no. And certain chapters of that can't even agree with other chapters of that organisation. So therefore, that's really not going to work. So what have you got? Because you're going against the whole police force. Well, at least most of it. There are some police officers and chiefs who want reform. But the problem is, again, you've got the police unions who really don't. They're scared of it, and rightly so. Even a lot of officers are scared of it, and rightly so. They should be scared of reform. The reason they should be scared of reform is because there's been a lot of bad officers getting away with stuff. Now, I would certainly say, initially speaking, you are going to have a situation where good officers are going to be caught up in the punish officers. And of course, if you're a good officer, you're going to be resistant to allowing that to happen. But then you've got the Republican Party, who won't allow any of that to happen if they can possibly stop it. And then you've got a president who wants the police to be aggressive and to smack people around the head. So really, certainly what happened to Rayshard Brooks, the president would say, no, that was fair. Yeah, this man resisted arrest, then he took the taser and he tried to taser a police officer. Perfectly fair. That's what the president will be thinking. So is he likely to stand by while the left tries to tear apart the police system? Not likely. So, I'm sorry, you talk about history, but the problem is you forget history. You forget recent history where you've had all these sort of incidents time and time again. You've had protesting time and time again. You've had the possibility, change is going to come now. It never does. Yeah, I've made a few videos on this recently, talking about the fact of why isn't change coming? What's stopping it? And you have to get rid of that stuff first. But at the moment, I don't think there's enough outrage. Truly, and a lot of the outrage is now changing. That the outrage is now going against the protesters because of the looting, the vandalism, and all this. Because guarantee you, even looting and vandalism that's happening in other countries will be brought up by Fox News and the Republican Party. They will bring up the fact that Black Lives Matter have encouraged all this to happen even in other countries. They will try to discredit that organisation even more than that organisation discredits itself. So, yeah, very, very difficult situation. I mean, sadly, I don't imagine that there's going to be a solution to this just yet. Not just yet. Well, I just need to pause a second. It's quite noisy outside. Right, back now. Okay, sorry about that. But not a noise outside. I imagine the dogs would have started barking at any point with that, so I thought I'd pause it for a sec. Right, back to the issue. I mean, it's a case of, do you really think that a lot of people protesting the most and shouting the most, do they have enough of an appetite at the moment to keep this going and 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 keep this going? Because that's the thing, you're going to have to. You have to keep this going, keep this going, and keep this going. And you're going to go through a lot of crap. You're going to take a lot of abuse by trying to do this. There's a lot of people that are highly resistant. So that's not going to be an easy situation. So, yeah. And you've got to look at it from the point of view that the Democratic Party, you've got Republicans against you. Democratic parties seem to be shooting themselves in the foot left, right, and centre. So I'm not sure if you can count on their support. If you have a Democratic president, then maybe. you'll get help. Well, certainly, if you have a Democratic president and you can turn the states, what's it called, the Senate, into a democratically controlled, a Democratic Party controlling the Senate and the Congress, then yes, you have a chance. You have a good chance of actually pushing through, but even then, you're still going to get a lot of fight back. But if you've got a Senate controlled by Republicans, you've got a Republican president who's not even Republican, he's more extreme Republican. So he's extremist Republican times 2. So he's not even normal. He's not even. Compare him to Bush, either Bush, and there's no comparison whatsoever between Bush's and Trump. None at all. He is so far removed from a normal Republican. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I just think that that's the situation. But as we saw when Obama was president, nothing changed. Nothing changed. There were killings of brown-skinned people by police that were unlawful, and nothing changed. Yeah, at that point, you didn't have the Congress, you didn't have the Senate. But at one point, I think you did. I think you had the Congress, you just didn't have the Senate. So, yeah. I think you need all 3 to make the changes. So you need to make sure, if you want to see changes, whether you are pinky skinned or brown skinned, doesn't matter. You need to make sure that get everyone who's interested in seeing changes happen, make sure they all vote. And vote in everything they can vote in. Police chief, mayor, congressman, senator, president, the whole lot. Make sure they vote in all of those and continue until you have the changes that you are looking for. Otherwise, you will never get the changes you're looking for. You may have to vote, and you may have to then vote the people in that you voted in because they were liars and they said they're going to do something, but they didn't. You might have to be looking at this as a 20, 30-year plan. Now, of course, that's a pill to swallow, isn't it? That's a massive pill to swallow. That you might have to wait 20, 30 years to get these changes through. If you think a bit of public outrage is enough to change the whole system, yeah, I don't think it is. I think you'll have some police districts will change. Some will. Not all. And even the ones that change may quite likely change back. They may quite likely change back. It's certainly a case if you get maybe 10 areas of police authorities that change for the better, but then the rest don't, those 10 would just change back. Once they see that the public aren't that serious about it, they'll just change back. Simple as that. They will. At what point will there be enough police authorities changing to tip the scales that they won't change back? This is not a situation that just because you are protesting on the streets peacefully, or just because you're protesting violently, or just because you're not looting, or because you are looting, you're not going to get any change either way necessarily. You have to have the appetite for a long, hard fight. If you don't have that, you won't see any changes. So unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation. Although again, this young man, Rayshard Brooks, lost his life when he really shouldn't have done. It's a tragic situation. I'm not sure in that situation, would it have made a difference if he was pinky skinned rather than brown? I don't think it would have made much of a difference at all. I really don't. If he was drunk, and if it had been a pinky skinned man drunk in his car and then resisted arrest, stole the taser and tried to taser a police officer, would the other officer have opened fire on him? Yeah, quite likely. Quite likely, yeah. So that's why I say I don't think that one, although it's terrible, although it's cost this man his life, although a mother and a father have lost their son, a man and a woman may have lost their brother as well in this. I don't know enough about his family to be able to tell you that. But yeah, it's quite possible that that's happened. And as terrible as that is what it is. And it's awful. And it's probably not enough. I don't think it's anywhere near enough. That one, that incident. Had it been another thing similar in disgustingness as the George Floyd situation, then maybe. And that's the thing, really, isn't it? For those of you that want the change, I don't live in America. So what's happening doesn't affect me on a day-to-day basis. I still find it awful what's happening, and when I hear the stuff that comes out of people's mouths, I get offended spiritually by what I hear. It's they're lying, they're fooling themselves, and I make videos on the issue because I hope that somehow somebody involved in it might listen to it and that something I say might have an impact, might be able to help in some way. But I'm not close to it in any way, shape, or form. Those of you that are close to it, those of you that are real close to it, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what you're going through. I've never gone through anything like it. I'm pinky skinned, so maybe that's why, but maybe it's a case because I live in the UK, that may be why. The police here don't do that. And I've done videos about why you shouldn't trust police officers, so I don't trust the ones over here either. But at least over here, they don't kill people with a minimum excuse. They don't do that. There is still a thuggish element within the police. There is. But it's nowhere near what it is in America. I know in the past there was an issue in Brixton where the police and the residents there had issues. Of course, the residents there were mainly brown-skinned individuals. And there were some strange relationships there, but it never got to the degrees that it gets to in America. But that's partly down to the fact that guns are not allowed in the UK. And because guns aren't allowed, it means that when the police pull you over, they don't think that you can have a gun. They would be amazed if you did in the UK compared to America. So therefore, the police aren't always completely on edge when they pull you over. They're fairly relaxed over here. That makes quite a difference. But yeah. So anyway, that's all I can say on this issue right now. I hope that a way is found. I don't think one will be, not in the very near future. So, I don't know. Give your lives to God. Yeah, be guided by the Holy Spirit. Have the Holy Spirit guide you away from situations where you could come into contact with a bad police officer. And when you do, have the Holy Spirit guide you as to what to do in that circumstance. Because at least then, if you end up dying, you go to heaven because you're giving your life to God. That's what I can say, really. I can't offer anything more because, apart from saying what I've already said, that it may be a long-term situation. Because that's where I think wisdom is suggesting that short-term fixes are very unlikely when you've got so many people against what you want, what you're trying to do. Having a short-term fix is very unlikely. So there you go. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon. On what issue, I do not know. Anyway, take care. I pray you'll have a wonderful week. And that God will lead you and guide you through His Holy Spirit as to what you should be doing. You take care. God bless. Bye-bye.